You know, to really understand a movement, sometimes you have to look at its source code. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're deconstructing a single, really powerful prayer delivered that in 1978 by the Reverend Sun Myung Moon. We're going to unpack the worldview it reveals, a world of a nation in crisis, a divine mission, and the very nature of power itself. So, right from the jump, the prayer hits you with this incredibly powerful line. I mean, that is not a gentle opening. It's a declaration of crisis. Right away, it paints this picture of a nation that's been abandoned, left vulnerable, and is in desperate need of a guardian. It sets this really dramatic and urgent tone for everything that comes next.
Okay, let's get some context here. This isn't just some abstract text. This was a real prayer delivered by Reverend Sun Myung Moon, who founded the Unification Church. The location? A holy mountain in Korea. And the date is super important too. It actually marks his release from a North Korean concentration camp. So his own personal suffering is woven right into this national plea. All right, so the first part of this prayer, it's really this deep emotional appeal for survival. It frames the whole thing as a desperate cry for a nation that's right on the brink.
Wow. You can really feel the desperation here, can't you? The language he uses is all about complete dependency on a higher power. It's a plea coming from a place of weakness, asking, begging for divine intervention to save a people he calls sorrowful and on the edge of collapse. So from this plea for survival, the prayer then gets really specific about what exactly is threatening the nation. It doesn't just talk about some general sense of doom. It lays out some very real geopolitical dangers. And this is, a classic way to tell a story. You raise the stakes. By showing Korea as this small, vulnerable nation caught between giants, the prayer makes the need for a unique solution feel that much more urgent. It's basically a country under siege. The details here are pretty striking. Moon explicitly lists the major geopolitical pressures of that Cold War era. He points to Japan, China, the Soviet Union, and even the policies of Korea's own ally, the United States, as sources of instability. This really grounds the prayer in the real world. It's not just a spiritual crisis, it's a very tangible political one. So, okay, you've got these huge, overwhelming threats. What's the solution the prayer offers? Well, it's a two-part mission, and it's centered on a victorious leader and his devoted followers. And this is where things take a turn. Moon positions himself not just as someone asking for help, but as a divinely protected victor. He directly links his own past persecution, especially in America, to the well-being of Korea. The idea is that his personal struggle and his triumph are tied up with the nation's destiny. But here's the thing, he's not supposed to do this all on his own. The second part of the solution calls on his followers. They're given this massive responsibility to become the agents who will save the nation through their absolute total devotion. And this just shows you the sheer level of commitment we're talking about. This is not a casual request. The prayer is calling for a total offering of a person's entire being, their blood, their sweat, their tears. That is the language of ultimate sacrifice, framing their mission as a sacred gift for the entire country. Now, for a mission this huge to actually work, you need some kind of power behind it, right? A source of authority. And this is where the prayer brings in a core theological concept that's totally unique to the Unification Church. So that brings up a huge question, doesn't it? How do you go from pleading for help to actively directing the forces of heaven? Well, the answer lies in a specific title and the authority that comes with it. The answer is this concept of true parents. In the Church's theology, this title refers to Reverend Moon and his wife. They're seen as a new Adam and Eve, here to restore humanity. And this isn't just some honorary title, it's a position of immense spiritual authority, one that lets them bridge the physical and spiritual worlds and issue commands that both have to obey. And boom, right here we see that authority being put to use. Notice the change in language. He's now proclaiming in the name of true parents. He's using that authority to mobilize the entire angelic and spirit world to go help his followers in their mission here on Earth. It's a strategic deployment of spiritual forces. This all leads up to the most dramatic twist in the whole prayer. It transforms from this humble request into a powerful act of what you could almost call spiritual legislation. So let's just rewind for a second. Remember how this all began? With a plea. I beg you. The tone is of a subject speaking to a king, a child to a father, asking for mercy and protection from a place of helplessness.
And now, look at this. What a contrast. The prayer ends not with a plea, but a declaration. I am declaring. He uses the authority of true parents to fundamentally change the rules of the spirit world, decreeing a new way for spirits to interact with the living. This is no longer a request, it's a command. And there you have it. The whole arc is complete. It moves from a desperate prayer for a nation's survival to a confident proclamation that reorders the entire cosmos to make sure it survives. The speaker has transformed from a petitioner into a lawgiver, reshaping reality through the authority he's claiming. And that really leaves us with a pretty provocative thought. By breaking down this one prayer, we've seen more than just a plea for a nation. We've seen a blueprint for how a spiritual leader can claim divine authority, turning a conversation with God into an act of creation itself. It just makes you wonder, at what point does a prayer for a nation become a plan to remake the entire world?